Eastern PA Weather 30 Meteorologist Bobby Martrich here with your outlook for August 25th, 2016. For your Thursday, we're going to have a weak frontal boundary that's going to be approaching the region today, and not a lot of moisture with it, but we are going to allow for a little bit more in the way of clouds this afternoon and evening, and continuing the overnight with an isolated shower possible. This isolated shower is going to be about a 1 in 5 chance, so not a real great chance here of any precipitation. As I move this forward, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Let's get to the next frame here. You can see earlier in the day there could be a shower. Again, this is just the light gray stuff here, so this is not really heavy by any means, and just a very spotty chance for a shower during the day here on Thursday. That threat will continue in the overnight hours, although it doesn't show much here on this particular model, and then maybe a leftover shower again early on Friday morning, and that's about it. So head over to the NAM high-res future simulator radar. I'm going to show you this from 11 a.m. on Thursday. Really not a lot going on, just very hit or miss type stuff here, and then that moves east, and you can see very widely scattered or hit or miss here storms that are, excuse me, showers that are moving across. Probably won't be storms either, but very little in the way of coverage moving across the state. Here's a look at 7 p.m. You got a few more popping here and there, but that's about it. That's all we're dealing with as far as precipitation is concerned. That goes right through the night here on Thursday night. Going back to the global models again, and we're going to move this a little bit forward. Once we get to later on Friday, I don't expect any issues with high pressure moving back in. It's going to be a very hot time as we get from Friday through the weekend and probably into at least early next week. With high pressure now anchored off to the southeast here, that's going to allow this return flow around it to create a ridge and pump up a ridge against our area here. That ridge will extend out way out like this, so we're going to be under the influence of very abnormally warm temperatures. Now, you got to remember, we're now in the latter part of August, so normal highs for this time of year are now lowering every third or fourth day or so. We're lowering by a degree, and we're now down to normal highs that are in the lower 80s for many locations. So if we're getting temperatures that are challenging 90, obviously that's above normal, and that's what we're expecting this weekend, especially here down by Philadelphia, interior southern New Jersey, and Delaware, where we should be easily hitting 90 just about every day, maybe starting with today, in fact. But our central areas will be pretty close to 90 on either side of it, maybe 88, 89, 90, somewhere in that time frame, or excuse me, somewhere in that range for that period. And that's going to go straight through Tuesday, it looks like, as far as temperatures are concerned. As far as precipitation goes, really not much more to speak of. We're going to have a dry weekend. There's a look at Saturday. There's a look at Sunday. Everything's off to our west, so I do think we're going to have, with high pressure and control, we're going to have a dry weekend. So it should be a fantastic weekend, just a little bit on the hot side, hot and humid side. We are going to have the humidity also because of the position of high pressure here, but nothing over the top and oppressive, it doesn't look like. And then we get into Monday. You might have an isolated shower or thunderstorm later in the day here on Monday. I think that chance becomes more scattered as that front sags a little bit further south. But again, this is getting out to 6 days. But what we've seen a lot of times is these fronts, as they get near our area, they look like they're going to have a little bit more precipitation with it, and we get a little bit closer to the event, and they kind of fall apart. So now another weak front, because again, it's still running into this ridge. The ridge is still intact. It will be retreating at this point, which will have a direct influence on the tropical system down to our south, but we're going to keep an eye on that closely as well. Speaking of that, let's go over to that right now. I just want to show you what the possibility of this system is. Now, this is still a very ragged system in 99L. It's an invest that's north of the islands, north of Hispaniola, moving to it's eventually expected to go up to the Bahama Islands and get out of the unfavorable shear and dry air environment it's in currently. So it's a very ragged look to it right now, but once it gets up in this area here with very warm sea surface temperatures, this has the opportunity to rapidly develop as it heads toward the general direction of South Florida. Now, where that hits exactly is still up for debate, but it looks like South Florida is really the epicenter for this system to come in, but it probably will just come in as a tropical storm at this point once it makes landfall somewhere in the vicinity of Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And then the projections right now are up in the air whether or not this continues across the Gulf of Mexico further west out here like this, comes up here and would very unfortunately affect Louisiana. That's a possibility. Could come up here about Mobile Bay, could take a run here at the Panhandle or even take a bend back toward the Big Bend of Florida. So there's a big spread here, but there's a lot of different possibilities with the system of what it does, and the models are going back and forth. A lot of that will be predicated on what this does based on this ridge that's going to be in place this weekend and how fast it exits. If it exits faster, it has this system turns to the north quicker and gives an escape route to the north, and you get a further east landfall. If it holds tight a little bit, you get a further west landfall. So I do think it intensifies once it gets over the Gulf. If it gets over the Gulf, and once it come hitting Florida, come right over land here, obviously it'll remain weak. So a lot of different things to iron out. Right now we're focusing on the southeast part of Florida for any potential landfall with the system. And of course, any advanced analysis will be done and conducted only in the EPAWA Premium Forum. So if you're not a member, please go to the My Pocket Meteorologist page and click on Premium Weather Forum, and we'll get you signed up and get you all the latest details, which is very, very detailed analysis of this system and what we think it's going to do. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich. That is your outlook for August 25th, 2016. Have a great Thursday.